Hello, hello, hello. I'm live. This is the Saturday Softpot Club. It's the 10th of November, and oh my, isn't time flying. Now, I've made it to the YouTube channel, and if you're here with me, if you would please subscribe. I don't know why, but anyway, I've been told to say, please subscribe to my to this channel. Please subscribe to my to this channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bunch of soft pots. This is a soft pot. They take many forms. Now, a soft pot is a handmade fabric plant pot, made for, well, it's made from ladies' tights and stockings and lots of recycled material. And they're better for the plant, better for the planet, and they are just the prettiest little things you've ever seen in your life. Now, the ones I bring up here tend to be very small, but there's big ones out. So the ones I bring up here tend to be very small, but there's big ones outside. You can grow potatoes, vegetables. I mean, to be honest, the only limit in the size of soft pot you can get and make is basically the size of the pot that you can pick up. Now, that's one little one that I made last week, and you can see it's sporting rather a nice little bracelet in there. Now, soft pots, they wear feathers, beads, shells, jewellery. It's a liberation, not only for the plant, it's a liberation for the plant because the roots grow normally and you don't get root spiralling. Now, there's no other container that I know of that can do that for your plants. See this? I've had this many years now. Keep bringing it out, and that's just to show you, this one's actually wearing a bracelet as well. Sometimes I wear the bracelet, and sometimes the plant does. We share it. Yes, but the roots grow normally, and when they're outside, they can just absorb the ground and the rainwater. And when the roots come through the bottom, which eventually they will do, you just take your hand and rub the roots off, and the plants aren't stupid, they just go, oop, and they bonsai themselves. Now, this is that same little plant that I made on a Facebook episode, about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and you can see it's just happy as Larry, and it's a beautiful pot. The thing is with soft pots, actually, is that plants last a lot longer than they do in conventional plastic or terracotta pots. Soft pots, protect a plant from the ravages of too much sun or too much cold. Because they're made out of ladies' tights, it's one of the worst kept secrets, isn't it? A lot of builders wear tights underneath their jeans and everything in the winter because it adds an extra layer of thermal protection. And it's just the same for the plant. And of course, you can put all sorts of junk stuff in. You can involve a whole world inside your soft pot if you want. Now, I don't think anybody's joined me yet, but we shall see. I know that people join me later, and I'll post this on Facebook as well. But yes, this is another lovely example, and actually that is a fake plant, believe it or not. Soft pots work extremely well for hospitals. You can't take live plants in, but if you put a fake plant in a soft pot, it's just lovely. And it's, such a liberation for the plant and a liberation for your own imagination, because soft pots can be painted, decorated. So this is one I made a couple of weeks ago on the Facebook episode, and this is a little aloe vera, and you can take any old plant, any little plant, a little ivy, anything like that, and turn it into something absolutely sacred. There's something about soft pots. It's the welding of the earth, the plant, your own creativity. You finish up with something that always has something sacred about it. And you don't have to be an artist, you don't have to be creative. I'm going to show you how to make a quick soft pot after I've shown you these, and you'll see. It's incredibly simple. Now, this is a slightly bigger one. This is coming into winter. I do love these plants. Skimmia. And the lovely thing is, the soft pot garden goes all year round. It's not just a summer or spring thing. There's always something wonderful in the garden that's growing. And this little job here, this will brighten up my garden no end. And now, oh, I've already shown you that. Yes, when it comes to putting things, presenting soft pots, they don't have to sit in a big deep dish or anything, big soggy dish. No, no, no. You can put them on bracelets, bangles, strange things like this. I mean, I don't know what that is, but I saw it and I thought, oh, I could use that for something. And sure enough, it's just a great thing to display a soft pot on. When you make soft pots, you enter into a whole new dimension. It's a new craft, it's a new form of container gardening. And when you make a soft pot garden, it's like nothing else. It's like no other garden. It's a very, very personal garden. And this one, I just thought I'd bring this one just to show you. This is the one that I've had many years. Many people remember this one from York when I had my shop on Stonegate. And yes, I found myself looking at that clock and thinking, oh, what's that? What's that? What am I looking at that for? Then I realised I had my soft pot eyes in. And blow me! Yes, I involved it in a soft pot, and I've had this for many years now, and it's doing really, really well. I mean, soft pots do. Plants in soft pots are very, very happy. It's a liberation. It's a liberation for them, and it's a liberation, as I said, for your own creativity and imagination. I mean, nobody can tell you, as long as the soft pot's made right on the inside, you can't go wrong. A bit like people, really, isn't it? And, oh, I made this one. It's just gone Halloween, hasn't it? And I thought, oh, yes, let's have a little bit of a play. And I've got a tea light in the bottom, one of those fake tea light things. And at night, when it shines up, I just thought it just makes those lanterns, just makes the whole thing work, doesn't it? And again, this is what I mean about the sort of creativity that you can enjoy when you make a soft pot. And if you don't like it, you just change the top dress. They're a bit like Barbie dolls in that respect. And then, what else have I got? Oh, I know. Adder asked me to bring this one back in and show this one off again. Now, this again is a bit of a witchy one that I made. It's just got a cabbage in it and a few witchy sort of skeletal hands and a few buttons and bits of old fake rose. Yes, and that's it. There we are. That's it from the back. That's it from the front. And it's just getting on very well indeed. And I put a few more bulbs in as well, just to give it a bit of interest where the cabbage grows. And then, oh, what have we got here? Now, brought this in, was it a couple of weeks ago? But anyway, so just a nice example of a glom. This is a glom pot, but see, flat at the back, and it just hangs on any wall, and that's it. That's the top end, and it just hangs on the wall and looks very, very pretty. And again, if I get fed up of it, I can change it. I can alter its form, paint it, decorate it again. There's just no end. And then, I mean, if you want, you can put moss on. This is a moss pot. Now, this little bonsai here has been with me for many, many years. Da 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 da. And it's beautiful. It's about 15 years old. And the moss on it just protects it. It's just the classic soft pot covering, really. Once you've got the moss on, I mean, if you leave a soft pot plain, it'll grow its own moss, or you can add the moss. There's various ways of doing that. Now, pop that there. What else have I got knocking about? I think that's about it, really, there. Yes, yes, yes. Let's move these. Now, I'm going to show you how to make a soft pot. And I'm going to share with you my latest discovery. Now, what have I got? Ooh. Oh, yes, that's nice. Now, I haven't made a hanger for a while, but a little plant like that says, please turn me into a hanger. And so I think maybe that's what I'll try and do today. I've got a apart from a hanger, I've got no idea how it's going to turn out. I mean, soft pots are spontaneous. Totally, totally spontaneous. Now, what have I got? All soft pots start, if you want really, really pretty ones, that is, all soft pots start with ladies' tights and stockings. And ideally, the sheerer, the shinier, the glossier, the better. You want 10 denier, maximum 15 if you want all the pretty things to shine through. There is a way of doing it using heavy duty tights, but they always come out looking funky as opposed to really, really beautiful. So I'm showing you this at the moment, and we'll go from there. Now, that's a 10 denier tight that I just chopped the leg off. And what if I move that? Move that a bit closer, can you see? Now, here we go, here we go. Da 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 da. Nobody's joined me. I don't know whether my link's working. I'm afraid I'm sort of blundering around on Facebook and YouTube, and I've got all I can do is trial and error. Now, let's see if I can get that open. There we are. Da 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 da. Gosh, these seem really long. Right, what I'm going to do is take my magic ring. Now, the magic ring comes with the magic softpot kit. And the magic softpot kit is this, by the way. And in there, you've got everything you need to make 15 soft pots, all the gubbins to make at least 15 soft pots. You will need a few more tights and stockings and things, but you have soft pot gold, all the colours, and you've got all the shiny glittery bits. Comes with the ring, comes with glittery bits, comes with a booklet, show you how to do it, and it's full colour one, by the way, and petticoat material, all sorts of things like that, and a big bag of soft pot gold in here. And that's got 5 scoops of soft pot gold. Can't get it out, but there's five scoops of soft pot gold in there, and for every scoop you put 3 similar scoops of compost. So as you can see, it's going to go a long, long way. Buy that, and I'll send you the I'm going to show you how to make a simple soft pot. Buy the kit today, and I'll send you the a free version of the classic soft pot. How to make a classic soft pot. And the classic soft pot you can use again and again and again, and you can turn it into hangers and do all sorts of other things with it too. So there you go, special offer. If you go to softpots.com, you'll find me there. You'll find it in the shop bit. Right, here we go, here we go, here we go. What I'm going to do, it's only a tiny little pot. I've got this massive stocking. But then having said that, I'm going to turn it into a hanger, so I can just going to put in a little bit of wash gravel there, just to give it a bit of gravitas. And then here, I've got the right sort of compost, a nice sort of compost, and in here I've mixed in 1 scoop of Softpot Gold. Now, Softpot Gold is what you need to make a soft pot. It goes a long, long way. See, it looks beautiful. It looks like a sort of Christmas cake mix, doesn't it? And what that does, it stops the compaction of, it stops the stocking compacting the soil to the point where you can't get anything in or out. The whole thing will die if you don't use Softpot Gold. You could try, you need something to stop the compaction. Grit, gravel could do that. But having said that, Softpot Gold does something quite remarkable as well. It's a natural mineral. It comes from volcanoes and they blow it up like popcorn. It's got a lot of silica in it. It's pH neutral, and it's well worth investing in the right thing, because soft pots are really well behaved. When you water them, stand them in a bowl of water and they'll just suck up the moisture. And that won't happen if you've got anything else in there. And when you pull them out of the water, I mean, they've just sucked up all the water, they won't be drippy or soggy. No, no. They're very well behaved. Now, ooh, might have a bit too much in there. Let's get rid of some of that. La 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 la. Don't need the ring anymore. Oh, I've just done the bounce. And what happens is that when you do the bounce, you just bounce it up and down on the floor, and all the compost drops to the bottom in a nice loose pile. And see there, that's your naked soft pot. It's beautiful, isn't it? If you put that outside, it'll grow its own moss, its own patina. And I mean, soft pots absorb the ground and the rainwater, and they're not prisoners like plants in ordinary pots, especially if they're outside. Right, don't need the ring anymore. I just use the ring again and again, just to hold the leg of the stocking open while I'm shoveling things into it. It's really, really handy. And also, when you're filling up your stocking, it's better to just dangle the stocking over the top of your bucket and let gravity do the work. Otherwise, it can get quite messy. Right, here we go. It's perfect for kids, you know, actually. Soft pots. I mean, it doesn't get that messy. And it's often the first connection that they have to... It's often the first connection that they have to a living plant. And because the plant's suddenly got a body, you can have a relationship with it like you'd never have normally. Now this plant, I picked it up and it's actually very dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift up the compost nice and gently around. Now, let's see, I've got this, it's quite long. See if I can just do that. There we are. And I'm just bringing up the compost around the base of the plant. Don't have to force the plant in at all. There we go. Now, I want a slice of tight. When I do the Saturday Softpot Club, I only ever tend to show a simple soft pot. And the simple soft pot's the first one I ever teach because it doesn't spill. You can't go wrong. I've taken a slice of tight, cut it again, got a stretchy bit of string. I'm just going to tie it round there, round the neck of the plant. And as soon as it gets to the point where I think, oh, maybe that's a little bit tight, that's where I leave it, just tie a plain old knot. And that's going to stretch anyway. And that's another good reason for sticking to stockings and tights. I mean, if you have to make a tie, stick to the stockings and tights, because after a while, your fingers, you can feel it. You just know how far they're going to stretch, how they're going to behave. And you depend on that. And the knowledge is sort of, in the end, it finishes up in your fingers, because you can feel it. Right, so there we are, one little plant. Let me just clear that away. When it comes to decorating, it's well worth making sure that you haven't got any compost knocking about, because if it gets mixed up in the dress, it's like the plant turns around and says, look, look, you've ruined my dress. And suddenly it's like all you ever see. So here we go, here we go, here we go. Da, da, da. I don't know whether I'm doing this the wrong way around, because no one ever seems to be able to join me on the YouTube thing, whereas people are able to join me on Facebook. Don't know. Maybe the thing to do would be to do it on Facebook and then upload it to YouTube. Is that how you do it? Oh dear. This modern world. Now, when it comes to when it comes to dressing your soft pot, what you want are synthetic materials. Yes, yes. Stay away from natural materials. Natural materials will rot when they're in between the layers, and you don't want that. Now, you can take any sort of material that's synthetic, and you can, actually, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. What's that? Let's have a bit of that. Yeah. I mean, I go to jumble sales. I mean, after you've made 3 or 4 soft pots, you get what I call soft pot eyes, and everything you look at, you think, oh, can I put that in a soft pot? Can I put a soft pot into it? Can I wrap a soft pot round it? Because of course you can make really long soft pots. You can form them, shape them. You can make them into circles. You can, once you start making soft pots, all of a sudden it kicks in and you start thinking, oh, goodness, yes, I could do that. I could do that. And I've made lots of sculptures and things like that, and they're still going. They last a long time, even the painted ones. The painted ones do behave more like conventional pots, though. They do heat up in the sun. They don't behave the same way. All I'm doing here is taking strips of material and just popping it, using that tie that I made, just to hold things in place. I mean, one of the lovely things about soft pots is you can do whatever you want, really, when it comes to decorating, as long as they're the right materials, sort of thing. And you'll find that, ooh, what's that? Yeah, bits of things with texture. That's what you want, things with texture, colour, shininess, glitter. It's just so much fun. And the lovely thing is it's completely arbitrary. You can't judge somebody's soft pot. And in the end, it doesn't matter what they've done, really. It will always turn out beautiful. And that's why it's so good for kids. It really gives them a really quick sense of achievement. And it connects you to yourself. I mean, these days the world is out there and it's so ill-resting and bad. It can really get to you, it drains you. And yet, when you make a soft pot, it's a reconnection with your spirit, your creativity, to the earth, living plant. It's just wonderful. And then, if you give it away afterwards, it's even better, because of course you're sharing the love. And soft pots it's all about love. Now, oh, I've got a bit of blue. I'm going on a blue theme, aren't I? Now, this is the only natural material I really can use. See? That is colour grass. And you see all the colours that you can get it in. It comes from the carpet industry, that's why. And, oh, it is wonderful. Not only does it help give colour to your soft pot, it actually also acts as a grip for everything else that you might be chucking on top of it. And it's what means you don't have to use pins or anything sharp and pointy. You know, a blunt pair of scissors is just fine for making a soft pot. Don't need anything more than that. Right, I'm just popping that round, and that's like the top of the ball gown. I mean, when you think about making a soft pot, you want to invoke your inner fairy. And don't worry, if you can't invoke your inner fairy will have found you by the time you've actually finished. So don't worry about it. Yes, I put on a little bit of that. Let's have a look. Ooh, a bit of that. Yes, yes. And it's quite interesting, it's telling as well, the colours that you might choose to use. Sometimes I think that looks weird, and I look at the colours that I've used and the combinations, and I realise I'm probably not particularly well. But you have to get to know. You get to know the sort of soft pots that you make and how you make them, and it's a reflection. It is a reflection of yourself. Right, what have I got else? What else have I got? Ooh, let's have. I mean, this is one of my favourite ones. It's just a knobby-bobby acrylic. I mean, ideally you want acrylics when it comes to putting on walls and things. Well, these sort of things. But a lot of the time you get them, you know, a bit of a ball of wool left over in a second-hand shop, and you don't necessarily always know whether or not it's wool or not. If it goes outside and it's been outside for 6 months, you'll know if it's wool or not because it's gone. It sort of gets a sort of a mould on it. Now, personally, I like that. I call that patina. But if you don't like it, it's really easy to fix. Really, really easy to fix. Oh, I like that. Bit of that as well, I think. It's really, really easy to fix. You just take a damp cloth and wipe it off. I mean, soft pots are washable. If they've been in your house for a long time and they've got really sort of a bit dark and dull and dusty looking, just take a damp cloth, give them a wipe, and they'll come up brand new. My house gets really, really dusty, and so it's well worth. What I do actually is I stick them in the shower. I mean, plants are just like people. You know, they need food, water, and you know, the negative charge of the earth. and giving them a shower just gives them a good rinse off and refreshes them and charges them, gives them a bit of negative charge. It's good. Now, what else? What else? Ooh, that's a bit more. That's a bit pink. Yeah, go on then. Go on then, just a bit of pink. Ooh. Actually, I'm beginning to worry a bit that my plant is going to get caught up in that. I should have probably wrapped that bit so that it wouldn't. If I just bring that all the way down, I think that will probably be the best thing to do. Just have a look. There we are. There it is. That's protected now. So, right, yes, and I can move it about quite easily. So, yeah, got a bit of that, I like to be balanced, so I have to put a bit of pink on this side too. And then you can move on to glittery stuff. Oh, yes, glittery stuff. This is the time. Keep your eyes open. You'll see things that are just fabulous for making soft pots. Coming up to Christmas, this stuff. Yes. Just plonk that on. Got a bit of this greenish stuff. Yeah. It's like, it all comes in at Halloween and through Christmas, and then suddenly all the shiny stuff just disappears. So, yeah, make sure that you get yours while you can. I don't really have stocks of it. I mean, that's a nice thing, is that you can buy the basic stuff from me, but you want to go out there and look at the world and see what else you can evolve in your soft pot, because there is never ever an end to it. It could just go on and on. Actually, this is a bit of interest. This was something I found in a second-hand shop, and it's sort of like a metallic-y looking gold bit of something thread. Going to pop a bit of that on. Oh yes, and sequins. When in doubt, sequin it out. Oh, let's move that. Just pop that there a moment. Remember that, I've had him for ages and ages as well. Got a cat theme in there. Ooh, let's have a... No, don't want any of that. Don't like that. Oh, I've got a bit of blue. Some blue sequins. Yes. Come back Poundland. They used to have the best sequins ever. And now they all tend to be a bit boring. Never found the right mix again. Right, so what have we got? There we go. Actually, I'll just pop that back there. Right, are you ready for the grand denouement? I mean, people always say to me, oh, how do you know when it's finished? I always say, when it looks like a fairy going to the ball, that's when it's finished. I think that looks like a fairy going to the ball. Well, sort of looks like a fairy going to the ball. There we go. Now, going to put on... Ooh, let's have a look. Oh, Patsy sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, look at that. Lovely. Going to pop that on. Just going to take that bangle, pop it over the top. Just going to make sure that there is stuff trapped in underneath that, because it's going to show. And then, that's all I have to do. Put the bangle in place. And then here comes the grand denouement. See if I can pull this down. And get it nice and straight so I don't give it any jip. Of course, got the plant in there as well, which isn't the easiest thing. But here we go. Just walking my fingers down the inside of the plant. And then when I get towards the base, I'm going to stretch my fingers out, bring it down over the top of the plant, bring it down, bring it round. But I'm not going to lift up, to push all this stuff underneath, which is what you would think I would do. It's a natural thing to do, to want to push everything underneath. But with a soft pot, you want to try and keep it as clear as possible, if you possibly can, because that's where it's going to take up its moisture. So here we go, going to pick it up. See its naked bum there? Going to grab its bum, get a good grip on it. Going to come around here and show you. Now I'm going to take the rest of the stocking and bring it down over the top of my arm. And as I'm pulling, so that neckline is stretching. I don't know if you can see that. That's stretching. Yeah. And then I'm going to push that up. Everything below the level of the pot, I'm just going to push up unceremoniously. This is why there's no point being myopic with a soft pot, because when it gets to this stage, a lot of the time it just completely changes. There we go. I mean, it's completely arbitrary magic. And there is a magic to soft pots. Each one finishes up feeling really sacred and special. And it is. Right, now let's have a look. I'm going to push that up. There we are. Then I'm going to do something unusual. I'm going to do the twizzle. I'm going to turn it upside down, hang it upside down, grab it close to its bum. It doesn't want to get too dizzy. Watch its head. It's easy to whack it on the table or something. And then spin. And when you're spinning, what you're doing is that you're forcing as much tension into that stocking as possible and making it as sheer and shiny as it's possible for it to be. And when it gets to that stage, boof, there we are. See, that's what you've got. It's beautiful, isn't it? All that chaos turns into order. It's very therapeutic, soft pots, you know. It really is. It looks like complete chaos and random, and it is. But when you bring the top down, it brings it into order. And I'm just tying a knot as close to its bum as I possibly can. And then, let's have a look at what I've got. And there's that ring. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to force my hand underneath that ring, and then I'm going to take another slice of type, turn it into a string, and I'm just going to tie it underneath that bangle that I had there, and that's going to create much better definition. Ooh. Oh yeah, I was telling you about my superpower. I have discovered I have a superpower. We all have superpowers, don't you know? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I just want to implode with what I see is going on in the outside world, and I feel powerless to do anything to affect a change, and I can despair about that. But I found that somebody contacted me, and I had a look at her website. I can't remember who it was, but she said, kindness is a superpower. And it hit me like a thunderbolt. I thought, yes, in my own world, we are all gods and goddesses, aren't we? We are all sacred, and we do have powers, superpowers, and the power of kindness is something that we can do. It doesn't cost us anything, and it can change somebody's world, absolutely. And sometimes we forget that we have this superpower, and it's well worth practicing for animals, people, plants even, you know, kindness to plants. Now, I've got this far, right? Now, that's a little dangler, it's just got to hang, hasn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it one step further. Now, maybe I should be smart this time and just wrap that little thing around there at the top, just to protect it from this next stage. That's it. Now, this bit that I've got underneath, normally I'd cut that off and say, there's your soft pot. You cut the umbilical cord, so to speak. But this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to go back up. Over the top and completely over the top again. Up to here, right up, up. Ideally you want to get it so it's centered in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a knot there. A knot here. And I'm going to make that my handle. And I'm just going to slice the stocking in between those two knots. Da, 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 da. Going to chop that bit off. Now, don't want it to flack back on top of the plant. So you have to be a bit careful when you cut it, because it can come back down, especially on a delicate plant like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tie that I've just made, and I'm going to tie it again underneath that neckline that I made. And then what you do, it's often better to hang it and just let it hang and let weight, gravity do the work for you. But you can do it a number of different ways. Just hold that. And I'm just going to slice up this stocking. Can you see? I've got some really blunt scissors. I wish these had been a bit sharper. Right, I could do it, I could just have one. I can have two of these. And you can keep on slicing up the stocking until you finish up with really, really tiny, almost threads. And it can make the most delicate, really delicate looking hanger. Can you see what's happening? Da, 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 da. I mean, you can see different soft pots that I've made at Henshaw's, you know. I don't know if you're anywhere around Knaresborough, Yorkshire, but there's a garden, a soft pot garden at Henshaw's. And it's free to go in, you can walk around, you can have a look, you can give them a squeeze. Because that's one of the things, is that you can look at what I'm doing here, but it's only when you give them a squeeze and you absolutely can feel them, that you realise what it is that's so magical about them. Right, I'm just going to release that little tangle that I tied up there. Let's have a look, see what it happens. Make it fall the way it wants to fall, rather than force it. Ha! Yes. There we are. Now, sometimes I'll connect. See that little bit there? I'm just going to chop it off, but sometimes I use an earring or something like that. Just hook it through underneath, and then you've got a really cute little dangly bit, and it's finished. But here, there we go. Let's have a look. Now, give it a bit of a shape, and ta-da! There we are. One happy little hanger. Isn't that lovely? And one of the things you can do is that every time you put another layer on, it will get darker. And so, if you wanted to, you can make it really quite interesting by doing something that's slightly different. I call it distressing. And what I'm going to do, take my scissors and then just slightly shred it, and you'll find it breaks through the top And you can see, I mean, some people hate the distressed look, but I think it's quite interesting. See? I'm going to show you when I come around here. There. See what I'm doing? I'm going around and just breaking through that first layer to let the other colours show through. Doesn't really matter if you go through the other layers either. I mean, if you know that this is going to happen, it's as well maybe not to put in sequins, but you know, a lot of the time even the sequins hold okay. There we go. One very interesting looking hanging soft pot with a distressed, wearing the distressed look. Beautiful, isn't it? And this is the sort of thing, it's really, really easy to do. You know, go to my website, softpots.com. You can always contact me, softpots.com, Annie at Softpots. And you have a go. Teach your children, give them as gifts coming up to Christmas. This is the perfect little gift to give. They're easy, even easier than this. And just the most wonderful thing to give a living gift at Christmas. Right. Well, that's that for the moment, I think. As I said, you know, I made a discovery. We do have superpowers, and we can change the world. And that is something that is within us and our ability right here, right now. And yes, our superpower is kindness. And one of the things you can do that's really, really kind and can make all the difference to anybody is when you're walking down the street, look at them and smile. Just smiling is a kindness, and you give energy, and it can change somebody's world even though you don't know them. So actually, as an ending, I'm just going to read out that Spike Milligan poem again, because I just think it's so right. Here, yes, a smile is your armour, isn't it? Smiling is infectious. You catch it just like flu. When somebody smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I walked around the corner and somebody saw me grin. When he smiled, I realised I'd passed it on to him. I thought about the smile, and then I realised its worth. A single smile like mine could travel round the earth. So, if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Start an epidemic and get the world infected. Perfect, isn't it? Yes, use your superpower. Be kind and just start with smiling at people. Yes, share the love, and share the love of Softpots, of course, as well. I mean, there's nothing quite like them. For kindness to people, kindness to the plant, kindness to the planet, because it uses recycled materials. And, oh, mwah, just love them. Anyway, until next week, between now and then, I wish you as much joy and ease as possible. And thank you for joining me. It's much appreciated. And hope to see you soon. Bye for now. Now, how do you turn this off? Gosh, I'm useless, aren't I? No. How do you turn it off then? Stop. No, turn it round. Oh, there. Yes, stop streaming, please.